Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I am a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you are absolutely in love with. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Elevate podcast. On today's episode, we have Tammy, who is the owner of KSA Business. She's a coach that specializes in small businesses at the beginning phases, which I'm so excited to chat with you today. Tammy, do you want to take a moment to just share who you are and what you do? And then we'll get started with today's podcast.
So I am the hold your hand and kick your ass business coach. I've been working with small businesses for well over 20 years now, and I specialize in helping new businesses as early in their journey as possible, like idea stage, up to 2 years in business is my sweet spot. My favorites are what I call the praying for the pink slip crowd, the ones that please let me out and give me money to do it so that they can properly start their business. And I focus on teaching them the basic foundational pieces that they need to first survive the 2 years and then go on to thrive.
So I want to start with, how did you get into this field and create your business? If you've been feeling overwhelmed and overworked from owning your salon, you're not alone. If you're like many salon owners, you wanted to build a salon that makes you feel fulfilled, passionate, and something that brings you freedom and flexibility into your life. But you ended up being exhausted from taking on all your business tasks alone. It doesn't have to be this way. It's time for change. The Elevated Salon Owner Collective will help you do just that. You'll automate your salon, implement solid business systems, transform your salon culture, and take charge of your online presence to regain freedom back into your business. I'd love for you to experience the freedom and fulfillment that you've desired when you decided to create your business. To learn more, visit opulentbeautypro.com/elevate or click the link in the show notes.
So my background is actually financial services. I've been in financial services for over 32 years now. And I had worked for a bunch of different companies. And my last job, I was in a company that, oh my God, I just hated it. It was all I could do to drag myself into work every morning and not throw my idiot boss through a plate glass window. And I'd had people telling me for years, Tammy, you need to start your own business. You need to go into sales. You'd be so good at this. And I had so many reasons, excuses, whatever you want to call them, to not do it. And then I got called into my boss's office and I got fired. And it was the most wonderful thing ever because I was already interviewing. Another week later, I would have been to another job with a higher title, higher pay, all of that. But it would have been same crap, different pile. And in the moment that he's firing me, I just feel this massive weight being lifted off my shoulders. And I'm going, I never have to work for another creepy, incompetent old man again. I'm finally going to step into the world of sales. And I sell things like life insurance. So nobody wants to talk to me. Like, you want to clear a room? Tell people you sell life insurance and they will run. But started my business and I started working with a lot of self-employed small business owners. And when I was going through all their personal stuff and talking to them, started discovering that they needed a lot of help with their businesses because they were technicians. They technically knew what they were doing, but when it came to the business side, they didn't have any idea. And that's where I had a lot of background in. So I started helping them with their business, with marketing, with hiring and firing and putting together systems and the financials and advice, everything. And so they started making more money because I had a greedy, motivated self-interest because broke people can't afford investments or insurance. And so they started telling all of their friends and their colleagues and stuff. And then it got very, very quickly that I didn't have the time to do it all one-on-one. So I actually created my first small business class almost 20 years ago now. And so we've been going and expanding and just absolutely love it. I've worked with people in all industries, product, service, across the globe. Business is business is business. If you do it right, it is beautiful.
What you do is so relevant because so many salon owners or people who become salon owners are very technically skilled.
Yeah.
They know how to handle their clients. They know how to do hair really well. They know how to build a business from behind the chair. But that is so different in comparison to opening and running a salon. They lack systems. They lack financial knowledge. All of these things are so important and never talked about when it comes to actually opening a salon. And I think a lot of people go into it like blind to all the things that really do matter. So
and
I
that's
feel
why
like
most of them don't survive.
exactly. I think 75% of salons don't make it to the third year is a statistic I saw. And I know that statistically almost 20% of all small businesses fail within the first year. So why do you think that is besides the lack of, systems and different things?
It really does come down to the fact that they don't know how to run a business. They're technicians. So you talk about our salon owners and stuff. They're going, I do a great job with the hair and I provide great customer service and that should be enough. And then they're going, okay, I open up a shop and there's all the money that goes into it and the time. And it always takes longer and costs more. And they're going, all I have to do is put out a sign and the people will come in. And then
happen.
How are they doing it? Do they understand the difference between profit and cash flow? I've had to explain that to lots of people. Mm-hmm. How come we're broke? We have all this business coming in. We're making money. No, you're not. No, you're not. And most people, and it doesn't matter if they're salon owners or tradespeople or massage therapists or dentists, they take their business advice from their broke ass friends and family who have never stepped into the arena.
Yep.
And a lot of the time they're trying to give them good advice, but I'm not going to come into a salon and tell you how to do a perm or a color. That's not my area of expertise, but they're taking business advice from people like that. And then there are some people that literally will try to give them bad advice on purpose to sabotage them. Mm-hmm. And they're not looking after their financials, or they've got everything going, but they have no system. So they're exhausted because they're professional plate spinners. They're running over here and over there. And then until everything eventually comes crashing down, and just all the little pieces where if they're willing to learn how to actually do the business aspect, which is going to be most of it.
Yes.
Then they can make it through and survive and grow and do all of those things. But it's rarely that there's a problem with the product or service. It's very rarely that the owner isn't working hard enough. It's just the fact that they do not understand business. They're employees that are trying to take on a completely different role and don't even understand the arena they're playing in.
Yeah. And I think too, a lot of stylists have the people pleasing mentality. Like we're always trying to serve our clients and always doing what the client wants and what's best for the client. And when you have a business, you have to do what's best for the business and the clients.
Yes.
And sometimes that, includes making really hard decisions that upset people, unfortunately, like changing your pricing so that you're actually producing a profit, saying no to certain things that no longer align with your business. And I think having a coach, and you seem like a very strong coach to work with, having that support and that understanding that like it's okay to do what you need to do is also very important.
Well, what do you call a business that has no profit?
Broke.
Extinct.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. The average profit margin for a salon, if you're lucky, across the board is 7%.
Which is not much.
It's not.
Tight margins.
Very, very little room for mistakes. And you really have to know how to budget. You really have to know your finances, your ordering, your revenue versus your profit versus cash flow, like all of these things. And I think a lot of people, when they first open, they do see all of this money coming in and they don't understand where it goes. Like
one of the biggest things that small business owners in all industries, the first thing that they avoid, and then they'll abdicate the first time they bringing in some money and they got help, is they abdicate their financials. I don't want to do bookkeeping unless I'm got all this money coming in and stuff. I don't even want to look at it. And they're missing all of the different stories that their money, that their bookkeeping or accounting can tell them to help them grow their business and better serve their customers. Like one of the things that drives me nuts is the bullshit line of the customer is always right. No, the full quote is the customer is always right and matters the taste. If they want to color their hair purple, fine, whatever you like, but that doesn't mean they're right anywhere or everywhere else. And so many, because they are people pleasers and they're going along with this, they're bending over backwards for people that aren't their customers. They're just annoyances. Putting all that effort into them, they're not attracting and serving good customers that actually make them money.
Yeah. And I think there's so much fear too when you open a business, because you have so much financial risk on the line, that they're afraid of bad reviews and afraid of all of these things that may happen if they have a customer that's unhappy, right? So when you think about, we've already covered so much, but what are the main 3 things that you recommend a small business owner should hone in on and master when they first open? Like, if you could pick 3 things that are like, if you are going to do anything, do these 3 things first, what would those 3 things be?
The biggest thing is you have to be committed to learning about business. You have to put in the time and effort, like finding yourself a good business coach that understands where you are and is helping you from where you need, because there's so many great ones out there, but it's like, you wouldn't hire Usain Bolt's running coach to teach your toddler how to walk. Right. Disconnect.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to learn about the business, and you have to put together a marketing system that goes 24/7, 365. Because one of the biggest things that I find with so many people that are hands-on trade, salon owners, photographers and stuff, they have busy seasons and they're so busy that they're not doing any marketing because they're exhausted. And then as soon as they get over that hump, they're going, I have no money coming in. I have no business book. So you have to put those marketing systems together. You have to be active in your finances. I always want my clients to do their own bookkeeping for 6 months to a year. Them do it, not delegate it to anybody else, so that they start to understand what the numbers are actually in their business and make it slow down a little bit so that they can start asking questions and seeing opportunities and problems before they are missed opportunities and gigantic problems. And the other one, work on systematizing, because if you are the only person that is running everything, if anything happens to you, it all comes crashing down. It means you can't have a sick day. It means your kids can't have a sick day. It means you can't take a vacation, because you are everything. You need to start building systems into your business if you want to survive.
Yeah, I totally am so big on systems and automation, as much automation as you can, and delegation. If you can afford to pay somebody, especially when it comes to business owners, I feel like a lot of business owners take on minimum wage tasks. And their time is so much more valuable. Like, just hire somebody for minimum wage to do the things that you can get done for minimum wage, right?
Which I mean, but I'll also add, don't replace your time where you were doing filing where you could bring in somebody to do it for minimum wage, and then you're going to go out and do another minimum wage job.
Right.
Make sure that you are replacing that found time with doing something that is of actual value, that needs to be done by you, that is going to grow your business, and most importantly, make the cash register ring.
That's going to make the most impact. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we touched base. You said, finding a coach is so important. I feel like the coaching industry is like booming right now. There's so many coaches. There's so many salon coaches. There's so many business coaches. There's health coaches. I mean, there's a coach for everything, which I love, because I feel like where I found the most growth inside of my business and myself was hiring somebody to help me and hiring a coach who knew more than me, because they can see the things that you can't see, and then they can push you to do the things that you're avoiding, right? How would you recommend people find the right coach for their business?
Especially in the beginning stages, I'm kind of biased, but I would love to help them.
Yes.
But the big thing is getting to know them. And like I said, what is their skill set? And is it a skill set that you need right now? So I'm a generalist. I'm like a really good family doctor. I am not an ologist. I'm not an oncologist, gynecologist, proctologist, urologist. I am the good family doctor. Where so many coaches, because we're always said the riches are in the niches. So they are very specialist. Like I'm a Facebook ads coach, or I'm an Instagram coach, or whatever, which are wonderful. But if you don't have the foundation, I've had so many clients come to me and they went and they did the Facebook ads coach, and they've dropped tens of thousands of dollars, and the thing worked once and they didn't have anything else to go along with it. And then they couldn't repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
They needed the basics, where I have people that have worked with me for years, and now they need much more specialized help than I can provide them. So find that. So go through and interview them. And here's another one. Are you talking to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about and has some experience? Like, you don't have to be a salon owner, but do they have any experience in business or whatever? Like, I just took on a new client and met her, and she's a VA, and she's dropped a huge chunk of money for this great big VA course, teach you how to do all of it. And then she found out after she paid the money that the coach has been in the industry for a year, couldn't make it work herself, and decided, well, I'm just going to coach other VAs. How can you coach when you have no idea what you're talking about?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I actually worked for a coaching company for a little while, and I am a salon owner. I've had my salon for 13 years. Like, we're great. Like, we're profitable. And the people running the company never owned a salon. So some of the things that they would share, or like some of the methods that they wanted us to implement, I'm like, that would never work. It does not work. But they didn't know because they've never tested it themselves. Yep. Right. So I think finding somebody who has the experience and who has gone through what you're going through or has what you want is so important. When we talk about working with a coach, I would love for you to share one of your favorite success stories with one of your students or one of your clients, or a success story of yours, and how this impact and the mastering of the things that you teach really had on their business.
Oh, that's a hard one, because I've had so many of them in different ones. If I have to think about one that I'm absolutely loving. So I have a client who opened up a like a doggy daycare and stuff like that business. And I helped her right from the idea. And she was first looking at buying businesses, and we're going through, and I'm teaching her how to actually evaluate and stuff. And then we figured out very quickly, it's better for her to start from scratch. And she's coming up on the 2-year mark, and she's just doing it because the biggest thing with her is she's willing to ask the questions and admit where she doesn't know everything, where she's having the problem, so we can work together. But she does the work. Mm-hmm. Because we meet every week, and I give her, like, we talk about whatever is going on, and then we figure out what her home, and she does the work. She does the work. And that's why she's seeing the results. Because there's so many, I'm working with, well, but you never did anything we talked about. Mm-hmm. You always had excuses or whatever. And then you can't get results if you don't do anything. So those ones are always my favorites. The ones that do the work, because I always see them get the results, where the ones that we're always dealing with excuses, or that sometimes they just do not have the capacity in their life right now, which is perfectly fine. But if you don't have more than 2 hours a week to put into your business, you can't expect it to grow and be profitable and fabulous in a short period of time, because you do have to put in the time and the work. And most overnight successes take 10 to 20 years.
Yeah. And I honestly think that a lot of people think that they can just post on social media and like everything will change for them. Like, oh, I'll just make posts and focus on, Instagram to get clients and to have business growth, or to bring awareness to my company. And I feel like that's not enough. Like, you need to do so much more with your marketing and so much more with your business strategy to find success.
And Instagram or whatever can be perfect, and depending on your business, but it's always changing. And do you know all the different little things? And they're working on more and more and more that you are not going to get any organic reach. If you are not pay to play, nobody's even, you could have the best stuff in the world, but if they're only letting like 5 people a week see it, what was the point?
Yeah, I saw there's this one woman I follow on Instagram, and she also has a program for salon owners and stylists. And she says that she has to post 3 reels a day in order to, like, she's posting 3 reels a day in order to grow her social. But who has time for that? Like, that's an insane amount.
Okay, is it growing her social?
Right.
But here's the more important thing. Is it actually growing her business?
Exactly.
Is she bringing in paying customers? That's the one, because you could have 1 million people following you on social, but if they're from all around the world, they're not physically going to come to your shop. So what was the point? Wasted energy.
Not converting, your posts into sales, I think is important, and knowing like what your target market is and like your place. And I mean, if you're digital, then, reaching as many people as you can is always amazing.
And geography doesn't matter. But if
right.
I'm sorry, I can't put my head in a box and ship it to you and have you send it back. You have to be within my geographical range. So there's so many things, but yeah, people think, and another one, there is no magic pill. So many people are looking for magic pills because we get marketed magic pills all the time. Right. There's no such thing. You're going to have, like, the steps are the same everywhere. You might have to change some of like the details a bit, but you have to do the work, and it's going to take time. You hear about overnight, like true overnight successes, because they are very, very much the exception to the rule.
And I think that sometimes the overnight successes are literally an overnight success, and they end up fizzling out because they don't know how to handle the success because it wasn't earned, if that makes sense.
Well, sometimes they don't know how to handle it, and sometimes it was just a one-off. Like, think about the big ice bucket challenge for ALS a few years ago, and it raised them more money than they had ever raised 1 year. Right. And then every year since, because what was that, 2018 that they did that?
Yeah.
So they had their fundraising, and then they had the ice bucket challenge, and then it went. Yeah. So it was a one-off.
Right. How would you describe your coaching style? Like, if someone was to work with you, how would you describe what working with you looks like?
So are you asking my process or my personality?
Both.
Okay. So I always take people through my weekend small business class because it's intense. It gives them a good idea of figuring out the things that they know, the things that they don't know, and most importantly, things they don't even know they don't know. So that gets them launched. And then I work with them on a group basis every week for a year, because I found that I started off with small business class. It was great. But if people don't have the love, support, hand holding, and ass kicking along, they get sucked into regular life and nothing changes. And then that's a waste of my time and theirs. So we take them through the group coaching. And then if people want to purchase one-on-one with me, they can. I'm very practical. Everything I teach is like battle tested. I'm very blunt. I don't candy coat anything.
I love that.
I curse and I tell bad jokes. So if people are going to be easily offended or thin-skinned, please don't. It's not going to be a good connection. But I want people to get results, and my rules for business are honest, ethical, and moral.
Yeah. I love those core values. I feel like, and those are so important, especially the ethical aspect. I feel like there's a lot of things that are pushed in coaching that are unethical.
Oh, and it just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So how can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
So best place to find me is always my website, which is KSA Business. So KSA stands for Kick Some Ass, business.ca, because I'm a pasty white Canadian chick. And you can also find me on Instagram at KSA.business.
One more question. If people do want to work with you and would love to sign up with you, is there like a wait list, or what does that process look like? Is it one and done, or is it something like, besides the process that you said that they have to go through the class and then the group coaching and then the one-on-one, do they have to just start in that process? Or if someone wants to jump in with one-on-one with you immediately, is that?
If they want to jump in on the one-on-one with me, they can. That is very much conversation, but I find that it works way, way better for them to come through the class. And I do my classes live. I don't have them like 24/7, 365 access online, which are wonderful, but very, very few people ever complete those courses. Like, I'm a super disciplined person, and I signed up for this great Instagram course, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. But I have lifetime access to it whenever I want.
Yep.
And I've completed 2/3 of it because I can always, things get busy, I can put it to the side. Yeah. So I do my stuff live. So it's a spot in your calendar. You show up. It's interactive, so you can ask questions. You get to listen to the questions of the other students and get different feedback. And you get the live help so that you're actually getting things done. It's not just, okay, it's sitting there. I can get to it whenever I want. and you never get to it.
That's so true. I've been there, done that. Okay,
and I have plenty of clients that actually just keep coming back with me every year through Mastermind, and they want to do the one-on-one coaching because they just want that ongoing support.
And I think too, like when you repeat the same content, like when you're in one part of your business, things relate to you and you resonate with things and you catch on and like keep certain things in your brain, and then you work through that. And then when you go through it again, it's like a whole nother form of information, even though it's not, because you've already done the things that you've
even
learned.
If absolutely nothing changes for the curriculum, because you're in a different place, you've learned, you've grown, and you are now in a place, okay, I've got this stuff under control, but now I'm ready to start learning and dealing with this part. So I think my record so far is I've had one client go through small business class 5 times.
I love that. That's great. And it shows that what you're offering is valuable and what you're offering is actually efficient and successful, because obviously they keep on doing it because they're finding results.
Yes.
Perfect.
And they're still in business.
That's great.
They're still in business.
Yes. That's so important. Again, so many small businesses and so many salons close, up into the 3rd year. So I think it's important to spend the time needed in order to really grow your investment. I mean, so many people spend so much money on build outs. Like it's insane the amount that they invest only to close it, a few.
Oh yeah. And they'll drop ridiculous amoents of
hundreds
money
of
on
thousands,
making the physical space absolutely perfect. And I have to be there to oversee it, but they're not doing any marketing or putting any of the other stuff together. And they're of this. I love Field of Dreams was a great movie, but the line "build it and they will come" is one of the biggest bullshit stories on the planet. Yeah,
I absolutely agree. Google Ads, SEO, coaching, mindset, like all of that stuff is so
networking, actually going out. So my client that's doing well with the doggy daycare business, and it's just steadily going up and up and up. Is the 2 biggest things that we got her doing was regular networking, and for her business, actually bringing in help for 1 morning a week and literally physically going and door knocking on the other businesses around her and letting them know, because they're so busy, they didn't even know she existed. And she is bringing in so many clients that way where, yes, she's got her signage and stuff, but everybody's so busy, they don't even see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't put enough effort into is actually networking in person, talking to people in real life. Like get out from behind your screen and go out and meet people in your community. If you can, make sure that you are volunteering your time, sign up for your Chamber of Commerce, get involved in your community so you can meet the people who are doing the same things that you do, so you can recommend their businesses and they can recommend yours. Yeah.
And just letting the public know that you exist. How I started my business like 23 years ago now is my business partner at the time. We went and hit every small community trade show that we could. And if it was $50 or like, I think we put our limit at $75 a table, but we would go, and that's how we grew our business.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me, Patricia.
Thanks for tuning in to the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and is produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Opulent Beauty Pro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing, and we will see you next week.